Not many people know this, but in the 2000s, two guys tricked a teenager into thinking that he was the savior of the universe by staging an elaborate multi-year hoax that saw him flying around the country, solving mysteries, fighting bad guys, and starring in a rock opera. In 2003, a 19-year-old from Chicago named Colin Pope received a package in the mail from somebody named Zane Vigium, who was claiming to be from the future, and he said that Colin was the savior of the universe. The package included a scrapbook that had images and a surprising amount of detail from Colin's actual personal life. And a year later, in August of 2004, he got another letter in the mail from Zane that had a plane ticket to Minneapolis and a letter telling him that he needed to fly there so that he could save the universe. And Colin said, screw it. When Colin got off the plane in Minneapolis, he was eventually led to another guy named Shags, who claimed that he was also getting these cryptic letters in the mail from Zane. It turned out that the entire thing was a trick, and Shags revealed that he was actually somebody named Maggie Hark, who was a cyborg assassin from the future sent back to kill Colin. Shags/Maggie Hark ran away. Colin, completely confused about what the hell was going on, got on a plane and went back to Chicago and didn't hear anything about this for another year. But then he gets a strange anonymous DM telling him that there's an art exhibit about him. He looks up the art exhibit online and finds out that it's being put on by two guys named Dylan Reif and Joe Korsmo. So he goes to the art exhibit in March of 2005, and it's about him and his life. He did find another clue which told him to join a certain video game at a certain date. And so in May of 2005, he did exactly that. When Colin did join the video game, it was once again about him, and it revealed a lot more lore about his supposed future of saving the universe. The moment the video game ended, he got another plane ticket in the mail, this time to Ohio. He got on the plane in December, went to Ohio, and met a strange cast of characters that led him around the city, solving a bunch of clues and finding a bunch of stuff, including this full comic book with his entire backstory and everything that he does in the future, which I happen to have because Dylan and Joe gave it to me whenever I interviewed them in 2021. He's eventually guided to the Antioch Theater, where they push him into the back door and out onto the stage, where hundreds of people are in the audience waiting to see him. And an entire fully produced rock opera happens, where he's the star. He finally meets Dylan Reif and Joe Korsmo, who basically explain everything to him. Back in 2002, Dylan Reif and Joe Korsmo accidentally stumbled upon a private social media website that Colin Pope had created for just him and his friends. And they started just hanging around, silently observing and learning about Colin's life. And eventually Dylan got an idea. What if somebody staged an elaborate positive prank on somebody that was meant to make them feel like the greatest person in the universe? In 2021, my podcast, the Deep Cuts Podcast, did an entire 2-part series where we went through the entire story from start to finish and then sat down and interviewed Dylan Reif and Joe Korsmo. You can find it on any podcast platform. It's episode 76 and episode 82.